Let's just go through this real quickly. I think I'm yapping too much for this tutorial, to be honest, but it's 1 hour of straight yapping probably. It's probably slightly less, but it's kind of like 1 hour. I'm just gonna use it's just gonna be my voice for the whole tutorial. So you know, I'm not gonna hold you hostage with my music taste or anything, and you will be able to play your own Spotify playlist and just listen to me, gain some extreme divine knowledge, yeah, let's just get into it. Alright, I will start with the mesh tab, and then I'll go into UV, then vertex paint, and then the origin tab, like in chronological order, but I think we should just start by setting up some materials real quickly. I won't go through this in detail yet, I will just do this quickly. So let's just add like a blend material, add a base layer, and here you will be able to select a lot of different files, but let's just select a grid box type of material. So let's just do that, and now we have created a material. Let's name it like grid white, something like that, and then create a material. Now it is created as a material, and let's just apply it to the objects. There we go. Now let's go into the gridify section, and this basically just creates a triplanar type of mapping to the material. So just click the plus icon here, pick the blend material just created. Mine is grid white, and then everything is fixed. The tile size is 1, so it will be 1 per meter, whatever this is in Blender. I'm not too sure what unit this is, but it will be that kind of tiling. This tiling actually, yeah. And then live update just makes this basically so that when you edit something and then you are done, it will automatically snap. Yeah, I'm not gonna go through this section a lot yet. Let's just go back to the mesh tab now. So in the mesh tab here, we have tools, generations, mesh edits, and utilities. And this add-on was primarily made for architectural modeling, especially for games. So a lot of this stuff are just stuff that I felt like needed to be in Blender that wasn't, which is like kind of why I made this add-on using the cringe vibe coding, Claude. Yeah, I know. So let's just like grid snap this. We have the scale cage, which basically just allows us to scale with a cage similar to like Hammer editor. We just select, you can scale, you can press this little handle right here, like this little arrow handle to scale like that. And yeah, that's just how it works. You have a grid snap functionality, which grid snaps things. Then we have an absolute grid snap, which will snap it absolutely to the grid. And then the grid snap size, of course, how much it snaps. It should be kind of easy to understand. I think there's nothing weird here. The absolute is just like if we offset this face, let's just offset it like a tiny margin. This is like not on any grid specifically. And then we scale, it won't really fix itself. So you have to fix it with the absolute, which is what the absolute does. It snaps it back. Okay, that's good. And then we have the vertex snap, of course, too. So if I turn off grid snap, we can have it on if you want to. You will set it will snap to different stuff. So it will snap to the height of this area right here. It will snap to this area right there. If I do like a little box up here, it will snap to that as well. So if I drag it up, yeah, you see it. It's just like a nice snap to vertex functionality. Yeah. So and then once I'm done, it will go back to fixing the UV projection again, and it will be to the world. So yeah, that's how that works. So let's just go back a little bit. We can remove this. Now let's go into one of my favorite ones, which is the clip tool. I like this one a lot. It basically just cuts the object from the viewport. Now this might be a little bit confusing because you see a line right here, but when it cuts, it doesn't always like project from that line. It kind of offsets, and that's because it projects from orthographic perspective. So if I cut now, you will see that it's perfectly aligned to the camera. This is how it works. Then you have a couple of options, keep front, keep back, and split. These are pretty self-explanatory. They just, you can slice them up right here, and then you can press tab to cycle between different modes. So the red is keep back, the blue is split, the green is front. So if you keep front, it will do this. Keep back, it will do this, and then split. It splits it up into 2 parts. Now you notice that there's a hole created, around here. Basically, you can just, this little option right here, fill cut, which will basically just fill in what you have here. It's not always perfect, unfortunately. Kind of hard to get it perfect, but it will fill pretty much all the time. It basically doesn't feel sometimes when like you really touch two vertices or something like that. It doesn't really feel, but it works pretty good. I can test it on this dummy right here even. Let's split it with fill cut on. Yeah, it filled in pretty good. So I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. Let's do like a cut him in half. So you see some errors do appear. That's when like it doesn't really manage to fill in correctly, but as long as you don't do like any extreme angles like here, this is kind of like an extreme point, it will fill in. So yeah, I feel like for architectural modeling this is not like a biggie. Most of the buildings are pretty simple primitives. So yeah, that's how that one works. I like it a lot. It helps clean up stuff. Then we have the merge tool. Now the merge tool is like actually a reference from an add-on before that already exists. That is like a merge tool thingy. And basically just, you know, you drag and merge stuff with vertices. You can just enable it and then you drag stuff around and merges. This is actually also a tool in the toolset bar. We have these 3 tools. The clip tool is also available down here if you want to use it. And this is like the merge tool. I didn't really add in like custom icons. I don't really feel like it. But it is here as a tool as well. So that's nice for you to know. You can use it whenever you just select this and then you can just merge stuff. So yeah. Then we have dynamic bevel. This is like a last second addition I added just because I felt like it was a nice addition. You know, you can do this manually. This is really like some, you know, you can go into item and then, you know, bevel weight an object, and then you can go in here and, you know, press bevel, and then you can select from, you know, weight, and then it will only select that one. This tool is basically just does that for you. So you can just select edges and then you set weight from the slider and then add a bevel modifier, and it will add it for you. And then you have all the settings in here. You know, you can change the amount and the profile type and you know, everything, and apply the bevel, and then you're done. So it's just like a little simple addition for you. I think it works kind of nicely with. You can also press this to remove it. I forgot about that. If I select this, you know, it will be added as a weight, and then you can press the X button, and you know, it will get removed. This works kind of nicely when you use the scale cage, because, you know, it will stay uniform. So if I scale cage now, you will see how that one still, you know, keeps its scale until it reaches like an extreme angle, which is kind of nice in my opinion. So it's nice for like non-destructive modeling and workflows. So it's not like a super big feature really. It's kind of ass, to be honest, but it works. Then we have this connect edges. I referenced this from like 3ds Max, where you can like select 2 edges and then it will add a line between them, which I find kind of useful sometimes. I can show you an example of this, which will be a nice transition over to like mesh edits tab. So let's say I will want to make like a little, let's make a little wall like this, make a little wall piece, and we want it to like add a little door opening with like maybe an arch. You know, you can just go down here, go into tools, connect edges, connect these 2. We have a new edge here. It does not add any edges around the whole thing. It just adds an edge there, which is kind of nice for the specific showcase I'm gonna show. So now we can bevel it outwards like this. You know, maybe create a little doorway. Let's see how much you want. Maybe something like that. Then we, you know, can press Alt E. You know, extrude manifold. So, you know, it just creates a little hole, which is why I don't really want that. Now this is where we go through mesh edits. We have this tool called Arch tool that I added, which is similar to the hammer editor arch tool, where you can just select an edge and then create an arch from that edge. So if I select these 2 edges right here, and I have fill turn on, and I create the arch, it will create an arch shape for me. And then down here I can change the angle, you know, how much do I want it to arch. I can go -2. The max is 90 degrees, you know, which is really 180. So yeah, that's the max. You can then change, you know, the segment amount. How much resolution do you want the arch to be? I usually do like 16. That's enough for me. Let's move it downwards a little bit. Select the arch. Really, I don't really think this is like perfectly placed yet. I'm gonna move it down. This is way too high up. So yeah, right there. Now we have an arch shape inside of here. We can do the same up here if we wanted to. You know, we can, you know, add an arch right here. Now we have like a rounded little doorway. It goes so fast, you know. Blender is so annoying with this kind of stuff, in my opinion. I hate making arches in in Blender, so this is a nice addition for me at least. That's kind of why I added it. Now we can go back to, you know, connect edges. We can connect these two if we want to. Now we have a nice edge here, and what we can do now is just triangulate this whole thing. So this is also one thing we can do. We can go into utilities and just, no, not utilities, I mean mesh edits. Go down to mesh edits and click triangulate, and then keep quads. So I will triangulate stuff, but keep the quads in the mesh. You can do this. You can do this, you know, with modifier too. This is not like witchcraft. You can go into triangulate and just minimum vertices be 5. That's the same thing. I just added as a button because I like buttons. And now we have like a game ready arch shape right here. So that's how we do that. Now let's go down to under arch tool. We have mirror tool. This is one of my favorites. This is actually like probably my favorite. It's really nice to work with. Let's just remove the topology right here. So the mirror tool is just like a, you know, normal mirror in Blender. You can just mirror stuff, but it does add a little thing called like a bisect plane. So if you mirror and then we have like a bisect, it will bisect. But then we can have a mirror object too, which just allows us to like conform the mirroring, which is kind of nice. I saw this as a add-on for Maya, so I decided to add it for Blender. So, you know, we can show the mirror plane. It will be at the origin. It will be at the same size as the bounding box, but it will be at the origin because that's where it is. Let's put it in here and then show it again. Now we see the mirror plane, how it's gonna be positioned. Then let's just press mirror and then pick axis, or we can set manually too if we want to. Okay, so let's pick the mirror axis here. So just let's press mirror and then pick axis. Let's pick the positive x-axis. In my opinion, it's kind of good. So press it right here, boom. Now it will be added. It will have like a mirror modifier with all the things set up that you need. You will have a little mirror plane added too. If it's like that, and now we can rotate stuff, and it will be basically like act like a little nice bisect plane. So, you know, we can just do this is witchcraft to me. I didn't know about this. It's really satisfying in my opinion. Let's just do like a 22.5 degree angle. It will fill in perfectly if we move this through here. It will just fix itself. Everything will be merged, you know, as it should. Yeah, that's how it works. Either way, let's just let me show you an actual like example of this mirror pick axis, something like that. We can rotate it, you know, apply it, and then we can bevel with percentage. You know, oh, that's nice, little curve thing right here. Yeah, that's how that one works. I think it's kind of cool. I like it. I use it a lot for specifically for like corners. Like if you do like a, let me actually show you one more thing since I'm demonstrating right now. Let's say we have this little wall piece right here, and maybe we have a little trim on the wall. Let's just bevel this right here. Add a lot. Let's just add like a cornice molding. Yeah, so we have this little wall right here. We want to add a corner piece to it. You know, just duplicate it, move it over. This is for like, just pick the axis, you know, rotate it. Oh, wait, let's actually put this right here. Wait, here we go. So if we select this one now, add a little origin right here. Pick the axis. We can actually pick it. Let's place it right here. I think this is a better position for the origin. And then pick axis, boom, rotate it, 45 degrees, negative 45 degrees, I think, yes. You know, now we have a whole corner piece for the wall that we can then use. If we apply this, you know, we have a modular corner piece, which is, in my opinion, kind of awesome. I don't know about you. I think that's really a quick and easy thing to add, you know. Boom, now we can remove this as well. Now we have a whole ass modular corner piece right here, which is really nice. You know, we can duplicate this one too. I'm sharing divine knowledge right now. So you see, yeah, modularity, nice. We like that. Yeah, we can, you know, move it right here. Now we have a whole box of modular pieces. I like it. I like it. So that's that tool. Nothing more than that. Then we have, you know, in under mesh edits, we just have some basic operators like bridge, edge, loops. You know, you can access these a lot. But we do have one more addition, which is circle scatter. and I don't really like the circle scattering systems in Blender currently, and I don't really like using other plugins due to me not knowing where everything is. So that's why I kind of made this myself. So you just press circle scatter, it will circle scatter from the origin, and then you can change the amount, and it will also, you see how it has 2 right now, but if I have perfectly 360 degrees, it will remove that one, and they will all like be added uniformly, which is kind of nice. But you can change how much you want it to do. This tool does create new copies, so yeah, that's just how that one works. I really like the circle scatter stuff that's like this. So yeah, that one is kind of nice. The other one is just bridge edge loops. You already know about this one. I'm not a tutorial guy, so but you can just bridge holes, which can be nice for architectural modeling, of course, and the triangulate stuff. All right, let's go over to generation. This is when I feel like things are getting a little bit more interesting. Here's one of my favorite features of the modeling tab as well, which is the draw shape tab right here. It allows us, to draw shapes. You can draw planes, you can draw cubes by just place the shape and then drag up, and then you have a cube, and you can draw stairs. So if you place the shape, drag up, and then press an axis, either X or Y. I don't want to add Z-axis. I don't really see a reason to have it be a stair like this or like this. It's like, yeah, it just creates a stair. You can then edit the stair whenever you want to until you confirm the changes. So I can add how many steps I want, and then just go back and add more stairs if I want to, just like that, and then change the step for this one. Oh, I didn't like this one. Let's change it to be this. Oh no, let's be like this. You have to jump up to get up to the stair. And you just confirm the changes when you want to start editing the mesh. I would not recommend editing the mesh while having this turned on. So yeah, that's how this one works. I feel like this is gonna save a lot of y'all's lives. It saved mine. I was about to end it when I was doing stairs. You have to bevel. You have to choose steps, and then you have to, oh, I didn't like this. Let's make it less. And have to go back steps. And the mesh gets fucked up down here. I don't like it. So now it's just, let's just place a stair right here. Oh, nice. Oh, we got a stair. Nice. You can always as well, to fix topology, just select it, go on the mesh edits, triangulate, and keep quads, and now we have a fully topology ready stair block for the engine to consume. And now, this is why I was going through the UV tab with the blend materials, because I just wanted to show you this. You can also add a predetermined material to this. So, every single one can have its own material. So let's, make this, use the grid white material. Here we go. And then just place us there, and you will see how it will get the grid material and have its world projection already fixed, which I find kind of nice. So this is good for blocking out environments. So you can block out and you can see the grid already added on everything. We can place another one, a cube right here, a cube right here. I feel like this is good for blocking stuff out. That's the gist of it. Nothing more than that. And yeah, so that's how that one works. That's draw shape, my favorite one. Then we have panel maker. This is the most the boy who cried niche type operator. This one is really niche.
Other niche interests,
my niche interest, I like to read manga.
And okay, do you have suspicious feelings you might have other niche interests related to it that I also have? So I was like, let me just. Okay, that's niche. That's really niche.
It's okay, but basically what this one does is just for if you do hard surface stuff, with this, the Star Citizen method of hard surface, where you have a decal slapped on top of a mesh with what's it called, parallax occlusion mapping, to add fake depth to it. This one is targeted for that. I just added it because I had it already created for myself before, and I feel like I can just add it in here just because it's a mesh edit type of thing. It can also be as nice for adding trim sheets, decals, and everything like that. So all you do is basically just you select a cutter object, like a boolean type of operation, then the base mesh, and then you can generate a panel strip from that intersection. You can use change width of that one. It will also use the underlying meshes UVs, which can be nice. I don't really know. That depends on you. You can change the inflation, everything like that. can change the segments inside of the mesh if you want to add more. I like to do this. I can sometimes do where I add one segment, I make it like a thin line. Then I can just take the little line right here, Shift S, go inward, offset even, something like that. Then you can select these two edges, then fill the whole thing up by holding F, invert the normals, and then press Control B to Boolean. And now you will have like a perfect topology aligned Boolean, like a custom paneling, which can be nice. I feel like if you do like some sci-fi stuff, this can be cool. I think it can be like a good addition in general. But in general, it's just for adding nice small hard surface paneling decals. Nothing complex. And if you want to make it like a rounded decal, let's just go back to using just default, and then super lips, or it's called super lips, something like that. I don't know. And then we do it again. We will get a rounded version as well. So you can play around with this how much you want. Now this tool is really specific on what it works on. Because the tool basically does a full Boolean operation and then like bevels that intersected edge that gets created. So I would not recommend trying this on something like some object like this. It has to be like a surface type of thing. If I do it now, it will get fucked up. Like it will get really fucked up. It doesn't work basically. But I don't really need it to work like that. I just use it for hard surface details, and often hard surface models don't really have like these complex round shapes. They're kind of like curved shapes and hard shapes basically. So yeah, that's what this one does. Now let's go to the third one here, which is the cable generator. So let's just create some cubes right here. This one is really straightforward. I don't really think you guys need a tutorial for this unless you're like a little toddler. You just click dots, boom, bam. This is like the kind of thing that is like in every single Blender add-on for some reason, and so that's why I decided to add it, because like everyone loves just adding cables. You just click, then you press enter, you get some cables. You can change resolution on the radial resolution and the curve resolution. That's how it works. Very simple, very straightforward. The sag amount, randomness of the sagging, and then count. The count won't really, it will be uniform unless you add randomness. So I would recommend adding randomness. Thickness amount, you can make it really thick like this. I don't know what you would use this for, but you can, I guess. You can add randomized thickness, which it's kind of hard to fiddle around with. It's very strong right now. I might fix it before release. It's really like strong. But yeah, that's how this one works. Really straightforward. Just a little cable generator thingy. That can be nice for decorating and spicing up environments. Who knows? Then the utilities. This is all straightforward. We have the apply transforms and keep pivot, which is you select everything and apply transforms. It will apply everything, but keep the pivot in its position, so you don't have to tweak it. Then we have create LOD group, and this is for Unreal Engine developers. I think creating LOD groups manually is kind of annoying with the empty and having to go down the custom properties panel and naming stuff, and yeah, so this just does that for you. It will create one at the origin. It will type in FBX type LOD group, default value LOD group, and you can export this now, and it will be a full-on LOD object. So yeah, that's how that one works. Okay, so now we also have this setting called world or object in the Gridify panel, and what that does is basically that object stays to the origin position basically. So when you do world, it won't care about the origin at all, so it will always snap to the world. You see how it aligns itself to the world grid. While with the object, it will snap itself to the object's origin. So if you move it outside, it will still fix itself. But in general, when you have it, when you have an origin position of it and then do edits, it will still like go from the origin. While in the world, it will start snapping to the world. So that's what that one does. Then we have live update or update current to update all, and we can also change this stuff for each materials. We also have tile size. If we do a 9 of tile size in the update, it will tile once every 9 whatever unit it is that Blender is using. You guys can tell me. Same here, 0.5 it will repeat double the amount. If I change it to world, it will, you know, for each, this is 1 and it goes 2 times. So yeah, pretty self-explanatory, to be honest. Alright, so now let's go through the blend mat material system properly, and I will show you how to set up like a vertex paint blend materials. I will first show the blend material, then we will move on to the vertex paint for a little moment, and then I will be moving back to the fast texture tool and hotspot systems, which we will touch on later. So let's just create a new blend material. Then now we have to add a base layer, so I'm just gonna find something. I'm just gonna use, this is not like a good material, but I'm just gonna use something that I used for my last deadlock recreation project, just materials there from there. We can add more maps to this, so we can, you know, add an ORM map, which is like occlusion, roughness, and metallic, which is just RGB embedded maps. So I have one right here for this one. This one is like a very flat texture. Let's add a normal to flip the green axis, because Unreal Engine uses DirectX while Blender uses OpenGL, so you can flip it just by clicking this. Then you basically just add a blend layer. You pick a material. I will pick the brick material I use for the deadlock recreation project thingy. Same here, add an ORM map. It's kind of hard, we don't say that in Sweden. And then add a normal map. I'm just gonna pick the DirectX and flip. Now we also need to pick a height map for this blend. So I'm just gonna pick a height map as well, and I have one right here for the texture blending. And then we just create a material. We can update the contrast whenever we want to. We can change what channel we want this material to be using, specifically this blend. We can add more blend layers if we want to add more layers to blend with. We will just keep it as one. So RG or B, which one do you want it to blend, which location, you know. So let's just do this, subdivide this object a few times so we can start vertex painting, and then just apply this to selected. There we go. Let's also go into the gridify. I think we can just gridify this. We can also, of course, gridify this. I'm just gonna do it just so I get a consistent UV. And now, if we go into shaded view, you will see that there's nothing here. And why is that? That is because if you go into vertex paint now, vertex paint tab, and press display, everything is basically filled in. So if we go full 0 and fill, and then we start painting. So we fill it at black, and then we start painting just red. Then now it will start appearing. So that's how this one works. It's really simple. The vertex paint, I will go through all the settings here really soon, but I'm just gonna show you. So if we go into the blend material here, we just have this simple blend system, very simple to use. Here we have it's using the R channel. We can change the contrast, of course, of the blend if you want to do that. You know, for certain materials we do not want these rough edges, but I do want them. So the reason why I made this vertex paint sections is because I really hate Blender's way of vertex painting. I maybe I'm just like a noob, I don't know, but I can't seem to find a way to like paint on a selected channel, you know, just paint on the alpha channel. I know you can do it, paint on the alpha channel, but like it's kind of difficult. So with this one, we can display the vertex colors. We can display all channels, you know, R, G, B, and A. Now we have only painted on the R, so that's why it's only displaying the R. But we can check all the channels independently, which I find quite a nice feature. We can paint on all channels, or only paint on R, G, and B, or A. Now keep in mind, R, G, and B will never affect the A channel. So the A channel is like separate, because I feel like that's a channel that doesn't need to be affected by the rest, especially not in environment art. So that's why I made it like this. So you can just paint, hold down Control to, you know, erase stuff. You can also hold down Alt and scroll to change the size. I made the gizmo a 3D gizmo on purpose, just for stuff to be more readable. I think it works better that way. So that's kind of nice too, I think. It's a nice gizmo. It properly shows. So you can change, you know, the strength, of course. You know, if you want to paint it a bit less. If I do like something like this, you'll see how it'll paint up less with less strength. If I paint it even less, you know, see how slow it is now. If I try to erase, it's gonna take a while. So yeah, that's how that one works. Then we have an option called channel only, which will basically only paint on said channel. So if I start painting on the red, let's display the vertex colors real quick. If I paint on the red, and then if I don't have channel only on green, it will paint over the red channel, which is not nice always. Sometimes you want to blend more nicely. So if I do channel only, it will overlay. So it will be on the red and green will basically mix. Same with blue, it will mix, and now we got white, you know, in back here, which is basically correct. Now we can display everything individually, how we painted them, and it will overlay correctly. If we check the A channel, you know, we can start painting alpha, you know, very easily. We can even I also added this functionality. We can select edges. I know you can do this with the normal one too, and just fill selected, which will basically fill the selected edges. So, you know, if you do like a vertex alpha fade, you can do that. I even added a little gradient system, so you can paint gradients as well. So if we do a single color, we'll basically just paint it over what's already existing, while without single color, everything else will turn black basically. So if you do single color and paint, you'll see we'll get a nice gradient going, very simple and easy, and it works with this one too. If you remove it, it will get removed fully. This can be nice, you know, if you're doing VFX. I don't know, maybe you're a VFX artist and you work for games and you're doing some Unreal Engine project or something like that, and then you just want to draw a gradient fading on your mesh. I don't know. You can just do this. Now you will get a full alpha fade, which is nice on the alpha channel. Now we can of course fill it back to be fully filled in again, and we have all these colors not affected because we painted on channel only. So yeah, that's how this system works. It's very like simple to use. We also have radial gradients, you know, we can do a radial gradient with a single color. Wait, let's do something like that. If we do a linear, wait, let me just do something like that. Yeah, basically it's just like a very simple system, easy to use. I think it has more features that I miss Blender having. So that's why I made it, basically. And what's nice with this too is that, you know, since this is like a triplanar gridify system, we can always change the tile size. So if we do like a 2 and update, it will, you know, start being bigger tiles, which can be nice, you know. So you can always update the material on the fly if you want to do that while working, and then, you know, you will tweak the UVs later. Now we will move into the fast text and hotspot system, but I just need to load up a file where I have like a hotspot material that I can use. So hold on a second. Okay, so here we have one. So I have this little tree material I'm using for a commission right now, for a little commission that I made for a quick stylized commission. And we have this wooden hotspot material where it tiles on certain axes, and then it gets smaller and smaller and smaller, and you know, a basic hotspot material with different sections. Now, we also have this, let's go into the UV, open UV editor. I also set up this hotspot grid material as well. So how do you do this? I can firstly show you how to create one of these, because either you'd start drawing them. Let's go into the hotspot section here. Let's remove the atlases. So now we have no atlas at all. You can either click new atlas or import JSON, because you can also export these atlases as JSON files and import them later, you know, you can share it with others, you know, whatever layout you have. Let's do it from, you can either, you know, draw. So you have this select, draw, and scale. Select just selects the current atlas you have. Draw can draw them out depending on a grid, you know, 132, 116. You can start drawing out these shapes. I'm not gonna do it yet. And then we have scale, which gives, you know, you can tweak the scale of each little area yourself later after drawing them out, basically. So you can either do this, so you can draw out a hotspot or a trim sheet. Now the difference is that a hotspot will always fill out the area of the UV fully. So if I have, you know, this object right here, this is a hotspot area, you see here. This one will fill in this area fully. I have an inset percentage just for a little nice inset of the UVs, but it will basically just always fill in, while a trim sheet draw will basically always tile on one axis. You can decide what axis after you draw it in, which axis it will tile. So if you want to tile on the y-axis or the x-axis, it can do that. That's how it works. Now you can of course draw this in. I can start drawing. I must change these to be hotspots. Let's do it real quick. Hotspot. And you will see it on the little icon if it's a hotspot or a trim sheet. You see the trim sheet becomes this little icon, hotspot is a little square. But I think this is like a nice way of sketching up your layout, but you know, I think there's easier ways to doing this. So what I usually do is that instead of drawing them out, I deselect that, and I start adding loop cuts on my mesh from the division, how I divide it up. Like this, I just add and add and add a lot of divisions. I start separating these tiled zones. So these zones are supposed to be trim sheets. So I press Y to, you know, what's it called, separate them. Let's separate them fully. Select the next mesh, this one. You start adding these lines right here. There we go. More right here. Nice. More here. More here. You know, it also takes a while, but you're not drawing them in. It's kind of fast. There we go. Now everything is separated up, and the UVs are matching what the UVs are here. So you can just you know, click this little button here from mesh. So if you click that little button, it will create all of it for you. So from mesh, boom. Now we have the whole layout from the mesh. Now that's where the selection tool comes in. We can use the select tool, press shift, select more of these. Let's select all of the trim versions and turn these into trim sheets. So now these are trim sheets, now the other ones are hotspots. And here's a list of all of them, pretty simple. Now, you know, these also have settings, you know, fit U or fit V, which is, you know, I don't use these for the hotspots because I always want them to be filled in fully, like scaled up to the maximum. But for the trim sheets, you know, this is kind of like critical for if you want it to be on the V, which is the X or Y, you know, like that. So if you want it to like fit upwards or fit to the side, you know, that's how that one works. Now we have a full hotspot system. So let's take this object right here, unwrap it. So now it's all the way fucked up. You know, we don't see anything. This is not how it should look. Wait, let's actually enter full screen so you can see better. Yeah, this is not how we want it to look. But now we can just press the hotspot button, and stuff will get placed in the correct areas depending on scale. And there's a couple of settings here that I want to touch on, which is the forgiveness slider, which you can change also down here when you press hotspot, which will basically just, you know, forgive some areas that are longer, even though they don't really fit inside of a specific shape of a hotspot. It will just forgive it and just like, yeah, you can get in here. Let's fit you in here either way. That's how that one works. We have inset percentage. Now how much should it inset? It's depending on the region scale, and it works pretty good. Then we have this auto detect density and full range, which is these two right here as well. This is like the base settings, and this is like what I can change on the fly. So currently we have it auto detect the density of each face and also full range. Now auto detect density is pretty self-explanatory. It just also auto detects it to the world, while the full range setting basically makes so that the biggest area right here will be placed in the biggest area right here, and the smallest little square right here, which is this one, will get placed in the smallest possible region, which is up here. This one. This is like a 16 by 16 pixel texture. So that's how that one works. I use this a lot because, you know, objects have different sizes, and like a lot of the time when you do these hotspots, the biggest ones you get the biggest, and the smallest you get the smallest. But you can also, of course, tweak this yourself. So what you can do is, you know, turn this off, and now they will get placed a little bit more randomly, I'd say. They're still dependent on size. The bigger ones get placed in the bigger areas, but these ones are not getting the biggest possible radius. So what you can do now is just slide the pixel density slider, which will basically change the pixel density of the whole thing, which I think is really helpful at times. You know, sometimes you don't want to use the biggest possible region for this one. You can just drag down pixel density slider. Sometimes you may want everything to be the lowest possible resolution, like this. Pretty ugly, if you ask me, but I don't know. I don't know about you. You might be a freak. And you can just tweak them like this. Really simple stuff. I love this system. I feel like this is what I wanted. I've used other add-ons before for hotspotting, and I think they are really good. and well made and everything like that. They have more settings than I do and all of that stuff, but I don't want anything bloated. I want something simple, so I just wanted to make my own version of this to fit my needs. So that's why I made this just for your information. Now for these arches, these also follow perfectly, you see, to the region. They're like flattened out, and that's because I added a gridify feature as well, just because let's remove the select system. I want to be able to, you know, lay this out flat and hotspot them. So you can just press gridify and they will gridify basically, and then press hotspot and now everything is hotspotted correctly. You know, this one get placed in the square regions. You know, they're the right size. If you want it to be on the biggest possible, you know, just hotspot, turn off these settings, drag up the texel density. Oh wait, let's gridify them too. I forgot about that. Gridify, hotspot, auto detect density. Just drag it up. Turn this off and drag it up, and now they will get placed correctly. Now due to the forgiveness slider, you know, this get placed inside here, which is not correct. Let's drag down the, you know, sometimes it doesn't really work as much as I wanted to. It's kind of hard. This is like an algorithm, so getting it right is like a little bit complex, but by just tweaking the texel density, it will get placed back into this area, and now we have the highest possible density, and we can do this for all of them. So, you know, we can move this down. Now there's a less texel density on it. Now there's the least amount that you can basically get if you're playing a PS1 game, if you want to. But yeah, that's how this one works. I think it's a fairly simple system. It's pretty straightforward, and yeah. Now I want to just show you one more thing, which is hotspot all. The hotspot, basically, I'm just gonna tell you this. Hotspot is just for the selected region. So if I just want to hotspot these regions right here and press hotspot, they will be the only one affected, while hotspot all will always hotspot everything, no matter what you have selected. So that's the difference between those two. So yeah, that's how that works. Oh, one more thing, I forgot about this. The hotspot selected regions basically only hotspots everything you have selected into the only regions you have, you know, highlighted in here. So if I do now hotspot select regions, it will only hotspot on the regions I have selected. So that's how that one works. Now it will get placed into the only the selected ones, if you know what I mean. So yeah, that's how that works. Just for your information there. If you're a little bit so here you selected regions, it will just get hotspotted into these areas right here, into the best fitting ones. So that's how that one works. Let's just unwrap again and then hotspot, and then we have it hotspotted correctly. And as you see as well, you know, the really long sides, they get placed into trim sheets, while the ones that fit into hotspot will always get fit into a hotspot. And they will also always make sure that if there's two sides, one is a certain length and the other one is the same length, but you know, they're different type of hotspots, they will still get, you know, matched into areas with the same sizes to them, since they are the same size. Same here. If I select this edge right here, you will see it. It's where is it? I have variation on, so it's right about here. And then when I select this one, they're the same size. I don't know, wide or whatever, is thick, if you want to say that. I don't know. Now if I also hotspot, I just want to show you this one too. We also have a variation slider to like offset stuff a little bit variation wise. You know, can be nice for stairs. You know, if I have a stair right here and I want to hotspot it and I want to change the density, let's drag it up to be a little bit more resolution. And then I have variation. So you see how like they will move around, just the variation, just to not become too repetitive, which I think is kind of nice. So you see they will also rotate, flip and everything, just to make sure that stuff isn't too noticeable in its repeated patterns. So that's how that one works, just for your information there. So yeah, that's it for the hotspot system. I think I have everything I need to show on this one. And now we will move on to the fast texturing tool. So for the fast texturing tool, this one is also really straightforward. I think this fast texturing tool, if you have seen Hammer Editor, you will know exactly how to use this one. Let's just select like these areas right here. It's gonna take a little while, there's so many polygons. Let's just like do something like this. Let's UV it, go into fast text, and then apply to selected. It will basically apply it as a UV unwrapped gridified mesh to the absolute size of this area. I have absolute V currently on. The default is scale to bounce and gridify off, which will basically scale to bounce and not gridify it, which can be fucked up on seams on rotated areas like this. So I would like recommend having gridify on for rounded corners and like specific geometry. And now it will scale to bounce only and clamp it, while absolute V will scale it to the world's, like, you know, how long this face is and apply it here. So it will scale up fully on the y-axis, but not fully, but like extend on the x-axis. Or if you do U, it will do the same, but it will do the inverse, where it scales up to the maximum of the x-axis, but the y is how it is. So that's how those two works with the gridified on. Then this tool is usually made for like you know, hotspot textures or like trim shades, stuff like that too, where you can just edit handles, which will show you a handle. You can have grid snap on or not. And then we have a show snap grid, and we can change the grid snap size, and then we can start dragging stuff around. You will see how on the texture it starts moving stuff around. And this is like a nice way to edit UVs on, you know, what's it called, architectural modeling. I think it's a nice way of changing areas. Maybe I just want this whole thing to use a specific region in my texture right here. Yeah, I move it down here. Actually, that's for readability's sake. You can also turn off the display of the hotspot system, so I'm just gonna do that while I'm showing the fast text, and then you can just stop editing the handle, and now you will have a specific area for this one. You can always change it, you know, still continue changing it, everything like that. I also have, you know, rotation system. We can rotate 90 degrees, 180 degrees, 270 degrees if you wanted to move upwards, something like that. I don't know what you're gonna do for shenanigans, but that's how it works. So I think this is a pretty cool tool to use, especially for UV handling, scaling stuff. You can even, you know, I mean, if you want to, if you use like UV Pack Master and pack, you know, like a, I don't know, a gun, like maybe you model a gun and then you start UVing stuff and laying stuff out to a grid. Maybe something like is overlapping or something is not working. You can just select everything and just, you know, make sure that everything is snapped into the whole thing, you know, by just using grid snap. Actually, I'm just gonna show the difference between the grid snaps, the grid snap or not. The grids, if you have grid snap off, it will still grid snap, but it will not grid snap to the absolute grid. So if this one is offsetted, it will not, you know, it will still be offsetted later. But if I have grid snap on, it will start tweaking itself to the grid. So that's how that one works. And that's basically all there is to the fast text too. It's a nice way of just handling UVs for specifically architectural modeling, really. Alright, so I added one last thing to this too, which is the, wait, actually before we start with anything else, let me just show you what without gridified UVs does. It will just do nothing if you have like flat faces. So, you know, if I have a triangle here, let's say I have a triangle, and if I have gridify on, sometimes gridify fucks up with triangles, so I would not recommend you doing anything with triangles really, because Blender's gridify system is made for quads only, and specifically for curved, like specific surfaces like this. You know, this one will also work with fast texturing tool if we have gridify turned on. So if I select this, gridify absolute V, it will become a long strip right here from the absolute. You see, like that. And then we can start editing the handles, you know, scaling stuff down. Let's scale it down to fit one of the trims actually. Oh, there it is. You see how it fits to the trim? You can just extend it if you want it to tile correctly. Yeah, so very, very simple tool. Nothing specific, nothing special. That's how it works. I think it works splendid. Nice. Okay, for some reason it decided to shut off my mic, so I have to re-record a little section. I'm just gonna re-explain the utils panel one more time for you guys, because I'm awesome. So let's go through it here. Let's just turn off the hotspot view and the grid and everything. Yeah, okay, so in the utils, this is just basic UV utils. I was explaining this in like great detail just now, but I'm just not gonna do it anymore because it didn't, record my voice. So I'm kind of like unmotivated to do it now. So I'm just gonna show it quickly. Stack to center, just stacks to center. Match pixel density, matches pixel density of everything. And then, so everything is, scaled correctly UV-wise to the world. And then orient to world, rotate stuff to the world, depending on, what axis the face is facing towards. So, that's how it works. It's very simple tool, everything like that. I hope you guys understood how that one works. Shouldn't be that's why it's called UV utils. They're just simple buttons to do simple tasks. Maybe Gridify should be in there, to be honest, but I felt like Gridify is one of those things that you need when you're doing hotspot texturing, so I felt like it was like quick, it needed to be quickly accessible down here, so yeah. But that's also kind of a util, to be honest. You will see if you have it in here instead of in the hotspot tab, then it means that I changed the add-on before release, but I don't think I will, so you're good. Okay, now we have gone through all of the UV stuff and text blend materials, everything like that. Now let's actually move to, let me delete everything, and we can move to just the origin tab. This is just a really simple origin tweaking system. I bet there's so much better ones out there. Let's update this one. No, update material. Let's update current. There we go. These are simple. You can pick and select UV origins. Let's go in here, origin system. You can change mode, from vertex or edge or face or all at the same time. You just click this edit origin button, and then you can just start editing the origin. So if I move it, the origin will move here, origin move here, here. You can always select edges, to have it move out of the edge like that. You can also manipulate only the rotation. Maybe you want it to be here, but you want to set the rotation to be from that face. Now it will do that. Now we'll do that. You can turn off the rotation and set only position to keep the rotation. It's just a simple origin system, tweaking system. You can also reset basic, which is bounding box and world, which will make your move tool go back from local to global and reset everything to the bounding box center. Right here. While if you do this and press it here, it will go back to local for a moment, so that Blender actually moved it outwards. And rotate stuff correctly. Then we we have basic reset position system. So if I place my 3D cursor here, I can reset the position to the bounding box center, to 3D cursor, to center of mass, which is different because they are different, and then reset to the world origin as well if I want to do that, or to selected edges or the selected vertices, of course. I'm just gonna place it at the world origin. Then we also have reset rotation, which is to world or to view. So if I do view and press local now, it will start looking towards me. I don't know why you want to use this. Maybe you want to, so I just added it because it's a simple feature and it just orients towards you. It will always face you. So yeah. But yeah, let's just reset everything, and that's basically all there is to it. Let me also show you one more thing. If I have select box active, and then I have this what's it called? The exit 2 mode. So the exit 2 mode will exit once you place your origin to another tool. So if you do a move tool, it will go from the bounding box to the move tool automatically. So if I press here now, it will go to the move tool. You see how it just switched? Or the bounding box, if I have the move tool active, I can switch it back to the bounding box. Also very simple. So that's how that one works. Now you can also place it on a grid. I forgot to talk about this, which you can just place it down on the grid. Maybe I had my dummy before always stand here. Maybe it had its origin all the fucked up back here, and it's standing here, and I want to place it. Just place it on the grid to place. It's very simple. You can also change the grid size, to be like less, and it will snap it to less. Let's put 14. Now it snaps a lot. So that's how that one works. Really simple. And I think that is all for my add-on. I think I went through everything correctly. I hope you guys will find this useful. You can always join my Discord server. I post 3D art stuff there, like recommendations and links for 3D art. I also post my own tweets, so if I do a little bit of like a what's it called, a shameless plug in there too, which I know. And you can always DM me on Discord or Twitter and like give me tips on this tool. Maybe you have something that you think is quite annoying. Maybe there's something you want to wish to be changed or added or anything like that. Just DM me. I will take a look at it. I may not always add it. Maybe I feel like you're talking straight horse balls. But if I feel like it's a good recommendation, I will add it. So, or if there's a bug, just tell me as well. And I hope you like this add-on. I hope it fits your needs. It's quite like a bunch of bullshit, this add-on. I just added like everything that I've been thinking about. That's why it's like just my toolkit. I just have things that I just wanted to be added to Blender and things that I want accessible quickly in Blender. So that's why it's like a little bit of like a fruit salad of different features. But I feel like it works, and you can always, if you just want the UV, if you just buy the add-on for the UV specifically, you don't even have to touch these tabs. That's why I kind of separate stuff into organized panels, because I feel like some people may not want all of this. Maybe you're just happy with the UV tab, and yeah, that's how it works. Follow me on Twitter. Do not follow me on YouTube. I don't care about YouTube. Maybe you want to follow me here too. I may post stuff in the future again. This is just basically for the tutorial. And I hope you enjoyed the add-on. And goodbye.